Now to another sensational Mark White exclusive, because authorities in France have been accused of encouraging people smuggling after GBNews obtained damning new video proving the French are handing out life jackets to small boat migrants. It's astonishing footage, and here's the man who secured it. It's GBNews' Homeland Curator, Mark White. Mark, the video you're about to lay out is an astonishing conveyor belt of the industry coming from Calais to Britain, but worse than that, it's being enabled by the French Coast Guard. Over to you.
Well, that's the fear anyway in handing out these life jackets. Is that enabling the people smuggling trade? We've been aware for some time that the French were handing out life jackets in increasing numbers to migrants. It wasn't until a couple of weeks ago when we got hold of an audio recording of a radio transmission between a French maritime vessel and the UK authorities, where the French were asking for the life jackets back, that we were then absolutely sure this was happening. Now, take a look at this. We have proof positive.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Now, that was just 10 days ago in the middle of the channel. What you see there is a French fast rescue craft going up to that migrant boat and throwing life jackets their way, and the migrants, of course, saying thank you very much. And we believe that that rescue craft is attached to the border vessel Riddens, the French patrol vessel Riddens. We've got another image we can show you, which is a still image we've taken from this video, and that shows there in the background that vessel, the Riddens, in the background of this particular shot. We don't seem to have that, we just got the video, but in the video itself you can see, in fact there you can see the still image there of one of the migrants waving at the camera and the Riddens vessel in the background there. Now, the French will argue what they're doing is just simply saving lives at sea and being responsible here. In fact, take a look at another migrant video shot again by the migrants as part of this publicity drive that the people smugglers push out. This is a boat that's leaving the French shore, but very few of those on board actually have life jackets. Quite a few of them have tire inner tubes on. And the French would say what they do is they intervene to ensure that those individuals do not drown. But while of course there's an argument to be made about saving lives at sea, there is a counter argument that is also a strong argument about whether this is enabling the people smuggling trade, because these videos, with all their natty little music and graphics, are being repackaged by the people smugglers and pumped all around the world. And what they're telling would-be customers is, don't worry, if you hit the water in these small boats, the second you enter that water, you are safe. The French will escort you through the busy shipping lanes, and they will also give you life jackets to add to your safety during that particular journey. Listen to what the former head of Border Force, Tony Smith, says. He's in no doubt that what's happening here is enabling people smuggling in the Channel.
This isn't a good measure by the French, actually. It's not helpful, because what we really want the French to do is to stop vessels leaving France in the first place. That is the best way of saving lives. And if they already have small vessels like these that are capable of going alongside migrant vessels safely, then why are they not deploying those in the shallow waters off the beaches of France and putting people back into France where they can be certainly made safe? Because those waters are treacherous, and I'm afraid this policy is simply encouraging more irregular migration, and I'm afraid more will still drown.
And I think that's a strong point that Tony Smith makes there about these fast rescue craft, the rigid inflatables. They are available. They have them in numbers. Why aren't they using them further inshore? We're told that the French are currently training with a view to doing that, but we are, how many, 6 years, 7 years into this migrant crisis before they're actually now doing this? And there are big questions about whether this will be an effective tactic that they continue, because the other tactic of puncturing the boats did begin, but then they got such violent responses from the migrants that they do that now very rarely. We want to finally show you another couple of videos that highlight just what is happening on the other side of the channel. We've had a few days of poor weather in the channel, but the second things improve, these migrants will be back in numbers. Take a look at this rail station near Dunkirk. Of course, no police in sight, no one to move them on. They're waiting for transport down to the beaches to get their next boat across. And of course, those that have already arrived down by the beaches, they're hiding in woodland round there, hiding from the drones and the spotter planes. Take a look at this.
Her shönek man bujed vojtecin. Kép man öt de garino. Cish man bujed de dozino. Ci man bujed awakin.
An indication there of what is still to come, with, we're told, thousands massing along the northern shores of France. As the weather improves, the numbers crossing will be even greater. Martin, we're already at 11,500 who have crossed so far this year, 36% up on the numbers who crossed at this point last year.
Mark White, an astonishing set of videos. You're the best in the business. Thank you very, very much for bringing it to us again on GB News.
This video is sponsored by Saily. Saily is a brand new eSIM service app. What it does is get you a local SIM card that you can use when you're traveling, so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a text back home. They've got eSIM plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions, so pretty much wherever you're going, they'll be able to make sure you're connected. So how does it work? Well, all you've got to do is hit our link in the description to download the app. It will work on iOS or Android. Buy a plan, you can choose the best time frame for you, and then just install the eSIM on your phone. When you land at your holiday destination, you can activate your plan instantly. Saily eSIMs only ever have to be installed once, so when you go on your next trip, you just buy a plan for a new country, turn that eSIM back on, and just like that, you could be watching the GB News YouTube channel. You can be connected anywhere you go, and you don't have to deal with patchy Wi-Fi in your hotels. So get sorted for your next trip by downloading Saily using the link in the description below, and if you use our code NEWS at checkout, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on us.
It's time for some reaction now. Back in the studio here in Westminster, I'm joined by the Reform UK MP for Ashfield, Lee Anderson, and the former Labour Special Advisor, Paul Richards. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Lee Anderson, I want to come to you first. An astonishing array of videos there. Many people looking at that will think that the French Coast Guard are simply enabling the people smugglers.
Well, it might be astonishing, Martin. It comes as no surprise. This has been happening for the last 3 or 4 years. As you know, I've been to the camps. I saw the French enabling, and the NGOs, the British NGOs, enabling these illegal migrants to come over the channel. I'll tell you what, this started under the Tory government. It's got worse under this Labour government. And what we might as well do is just put 2 flights a day on from France. We might as well put 2 Ryanair flights on and say, come on, lads, jump on here. Because that's what we're doing. This is not deterring. It's not smashing the gangs. It's like, as Mark says, it's enabling people. It's encouraging them to make this perilous journey across the channel. And quite frankly, our government should be ashamed of themselves letting the French do this.
So what do we do about it? What would you do? If you're in government now, Reform, you can talk tough all you like. You're in power. Nigel Farage is the Prime Minister. What are you going to do about that?
The first thing I would do, I would detain these people coming over the channel. They would be in a secure facility. I've been asking for this for 4 or 5 years now. As soon as they land on our shores, they should be put in a camp and detained there, ready for deportation. They should not be allowed to claim asylum, no asylum claims whatsoever, and where we can, turn them back in the channel.
Paul Richards, let's bring you in at this point. There is nothing more obvious than the naked evidence we see before our eyes. This is a total failure of the British state. It's a total failure of the French authorities. It's bedlam in the Channel.
I mean, there are people that say just put the Royal Navy destroyers into the Channel and, shell these people, let them drown in the Channel. But I think most people...
Who says that? Who said that, Paul?
People...
Who's these people?
You hear people saying let them drown. There are people on the doorsteps who say let them drown. But I think handing out life jackets isn't enabling. I think it is just securing safety at sea. And by the point that they're there, it is obviously... too late, isn't it? So the argument is about how do you then stop that happening? How do you puncture the boats from getting anywhere near the water? How do you disrupt the supply lines?
Puncture the boats
before they get anywhere near the coast of France or Belgium. How do we work better with the French and the Belgians to stop so that it gets nowhere near the water? And how do you smash the gangs? And that is a slogan based on a policy, which is the only way to do this, because you have to stop these animals who are putting these people into boats.
By 36% this year alone. This smashing the gangs nonsense. This slogan is absolute nonsense.
But you and I know if there was an easy, simple solution like gunboats in the Channel or whatever, then any government, Labour or Tory,
there is a simple
would
solution, and your government and the Tory government was the same. They haven't got the backbone or the political will to do it. These people need sending back the same day. And if it means a standoff with France, so what? There are people dying in the Channel every single week.
Indeed, and that is horrendous, which is why they're giving them the life jackets. And I think we can all agree that's a reasonable thing to do. But, the point is, how do you stop them getting anywhere near the Channel? How do you stop this evil trade even happening? And that you stop the animals who are putting them into the boats. And you lock them up. That's what you do.
They should be locked up. As soon as they arrive on these shores, they should be locked up.
No, I don't mean the asylum seekers. I'm talking about the criminal gangs who are putting them in the water in the first place.
When a gang gets arrested, I think we've arrested one person so far who's been sent to prison since Salma said he was going to smash the gangs. There's another 20, 30, 40, 50 gangs ready to take their place.
We need to redouble our efforts.
No, it's nonsense. This will not stop until the pull factor is stopped. And the pull factor at the moment is you give them life jackets, you're escorting them across the Channel, you put them in hotels, you give them free legal aid to claim asylum, and they're never leaving this country.
I mean, they shouldn't be in hotels. I agree with that. I think the people profiteering out of hotels should be taxed.
They should be in tents or in camps. That's where they should be.
But your policy is not that you should ban all asylum.
No, it's not, no.
So how
but what we say is, if you arrive here illegally, i.e. on a boat or in the back of a lorry, you should not claim asylum. Right.
But how do you know that some of the people on those boats are not actually legitimate asylum seekers?
Because they've just left a safe country in France.
But then,
if they're in a safe country, they've passed through 6 or 7, Paul, safe countries. If they are really, fit for their life, in fear of their life, they would claim asylum in the first safe country.
Well,
of course they would. I would. Wouldn't you?
I think if that
would you travel to 7 safe countries if you were scared?
Well, do you know, I think some of the people that do that have quite a lot of gumption, quite a lot of guts. I wouldn't mind some of them actually being in the country.
You know, these people in these boats are not genuine asylum seekers. They're economic migrants.
Well, some are, some
coming
aren't.
for a better
I don't
life.
think we can judge
they end
from
up
looking
working
at
in prostitution, drugs, in crime.
Some do, some don't. We don't know for sure. And you do need a legal process to deal with it.
You're living in Clyde Cuckoo land.
Not at all, no. I live on the seaside. I see this happening. I live near the hotels.
I've been to the camps in France, and the lad said to me, in France, El Dorado. That's all they said, El Dorado.
But that's why we need to smash those gangs, because those are the true perpetrators.
So why are the figures going up under Starmer?
Well, because of the good weather, mostly.
Oh, right, OK.
Because we've had a sustained period of sunshine, and flat sea means they get them on the boat. That's why you need to lock them up.
Yeah. So as long as there's good weather, Paul Richards, this is something we are simply powerless to stop, like King Canute stopping the tide.
Disagree. We're not powerless, but there isn't a single, simple solution. You have to do lots of different things all at the same time.
Maybe when Ed Miliband gets his own way and he blocks the sun out with his new madcap ideas, the weather might change. Because that's what he's going to do.
All right, well, let's get on to another point now, gentlemen. Can I ask you, Sarah Pochin has just been sworn in, the latest Reform MP. Finally, you've got a woman on board. Is she going to whip you lot into shape?
I tell you what, she's a very elegant lady and very forthright and strong. And you know what, this is just what we need at the moment, Martin. We had stunning results in the local elections last week. We took control of 10 councils. 677 new MPs, 2 mayorals, councillors, and a parliamentary seat. And a parliamentary seat, which is absolutely stunning. She's been great. Been with her earlier today when she swore in. And you know what? There's going to be more by-elections over this Parliament, and I'm telling you now, there's going to be more Reform MPs doing that walk.
And Sarah Pochin joins me tonight in this studio at 7 p.m. for a first sit-down, first British media interview. Look forward to that. Paul Richards, the results last week, let's face it, they were difficult times for both the Labour Party and the Conservatives. And it seems the Labour Party are trying to adopt some of the colours of reform, on clamping down on visas, on illegal immigration, on foreign aid. Do you expect the right way to counter reform is for Sir Keir Starmer to put his Nigel Farage disguise kit on?
I mean, I wish Sarah all the best as a new member of Parliament. It's always exciting when you see a new member sworn in like that. I mean, 10 votes the other way, of course, we'd be sitting here talking about the wheels coming off reform and Starmer, the great comeback king. You know, it is just a few votes either way, isn't it? So politics is made of such fine margins, I guess. Good. But I don't think the answer to your question is that Labour doesn't need to ape reform, but it does need to address directly those concerns that we heard on the doorsteps in the by-election and in the council election.
Winter fuel allowance, illegal immigration.
People are trying to send us a message, aren't they, when they vote? Because they weren't voting on the actual delivery of local services. It was other issues that people were concerned about. And any government has to be responsive and listen, of course.
All right. Great. Lee Anderson, very quickly, if I could, what's this about your woke flag ban? The Reform Party are banning flags from council buildings. What kind of flags are going to get the bullet?
Well, I went to meet Leicestershire County Councillors and Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire on Saturday, just gone. One of the first things I said to him is, throw your flags away. We're not having it. We don't want anybody wearing political lanyards, promoting whatever, and throw all these silly flags we've got flying everywhere. I'd like to see a Union flag there. I'd like to see a St George flag, you know, and possibly the county flag as well.
That's a flag there outside your home city.
Well, that will be pulled down straight away. It's absolute nonsense. It's dividing people.
The trans progress flag.
Your chairman said we're going to ban all flags.
Yeah.
And then we said, what about the county flags? And then they said, well, we don't mean the county flags.
Yeah, we don't.
Then we said, what about Armed Forces Day or the Red Duster on Royal Navy Day? What about those flags? And then they said, well, we're not sure. It's a typical politician saying one thing, then doing another.
Absolute rubbish.
This is the first reform U-turn.
We don't mind
this
Armed
is the
Forces
first
flag.
U-turn.
It's rubbish.
Well, why did your chairman say no to
rubbish.
those things?
If it's Armed Forces Day, there's nothing wrong with putting Armed Forces flag.
He said
what we're going to do,
only
Paul, these
Union
political
Jack.
statements we see with the rainbow flags, they're gone, and it's about time
But the county flags?
I've just said the county flags will go
That's
up.
not what your chairman said.
What about
one day ago?
What about the Ukrainian flag?
It's amateur hour, isn't it, really?
It's not amateur hour, Paul. I'll tell you what was amateur hour last Thursday when we won 677 seats, 2 mayors, a new MP.
We won 3 mayors.
Yeah, well, 3 mayors. You wanted to know the Tories.
We won.
Yeah, I know you didn't. Mate, we absolutely wiped you up. We wiped the floor with the Labour Party and the Tory Party. That was on its own sends a clear message out to you lot and the Tories that we're coming for you. And you see these Labour MPs that sat in the chamber they haven't sat with, a lot of them are one-termers. They're going to get kicked out at the next election.
Okay, guys, I have to drop the flag on this conversation. Superb stuff. Lee Anderson and Paul Richards, great stuff.